Bright Duty. Every student matters.
Now we are coming to discuss with this the Legislative Council. In Hindi also, it is known as Vidhan Parishad. The Legislative Council is also called the Vidhan Parishad, and the members of the Legislative Council are not directly elected by the people. They are indirectly actually elected by the people. A certain procedure is followed to elect them. So what is the procedure? It is given over here in the flow chart also. The constituencies are there. In the constituencies, not like that the MLAs or by the MPs constituency. It is in a different manner, as it is also considered as the upper house and the permanent house. So 1/3 members are elected by the Legislative Assembly. Their 1/3 members are from the Legislative Assembly. 1/3 by the members of the local bodies, whatever it is, municipalities or the municipal corporations. So 1/3 members are from there. 1/6 are well-known people from the field of science, arts or literature. So they are also having the eminent position in the Legislative Council. And the people in the distinguished fields like the art, science and the literature, they are nominated by the governor. They are on the nomination of the governor. They are becoming the members of the Legislative Council. 1/12 are elected by persons who have been teachers or the secondary schools. Teachers of the secondary schools earlier in the particular state. So this is also the one of the most important criteria. Whosoever that they are the 1/12 of the total strength are elected. From which background? They are from the school teachers, secondary schools of that state, and 1/12 members are elected by the graduates of any university of India. For the secondary level or for the secondary schools, they must be from that state. From which state they wanted to become the members of the Vidhan Parishad. But for the graduates from anywhere in the University of India, they have been completed their graduation degree. So this is about the configuration of to get the membership of the Legislative Council. The same thing is written over here also. Graduates 1/12 of the total strength and can be considered from any University of India. Teachers 1/12, but they are supposed to be from the same state from wherever they wanted to become the member of the Legislative Council. Local authorities, nearly it is 1/3 of the members. Then assembly members, assembly means Legislative Assembly members, they are nearly 1/3 of that, and nominated by the nomination by governor, the remaining, whatever the number is fixed for the Legislative Council, and the leftover the seats which has been nominated by the president in the distinguished field like art, science, literature. So this is all about that, the indirect election for the Legislative Council. How to get the membership in the Legislative Council of a state or the state Legislative Council, or to become the member of Vidhan Parishad. Then the most important part, the popularly known as the members of the Legislative Assembly or MLAs. One vote, one value. One vote, one value. Means that the equal political right. According to this system, the members of the MLAs, members are known as the MLAs. They are directly elected by the people of the state. Members of the Vidhan Parishad, they are known as the members of Vidhan Parishad are known as the MLC, Member of Legislative Council, MLC. The members of the Legislative Assemblies are known as MLA. The state government, each state has a Legislative Assembly and the Vidhan Sabha or the Vidhan Sabha. It is formed of the representatives elected by the people from the assembly. Constituencies within the state, its members are called members of Legislative Assembly, and these members are directly elected by the people of the state. Of the same state, they are getting elected. In the members, its members are called the members of the Legislative Assembly, and they are directly elected. The Legislative Assembly is elected for a period of 5 years. They are elected for the 5 years, and this is led by a speaker and a deputy speaker. This is also the facility in this state legislative assemblies. They have speaker also, they have deputy speaker also, who are also elected by the members of the legislative assembly, and the governor has the power to dissolve the house before the 5-year term has been completed in case of any unfavorable conditions. If suppose that any of the situation is like that, if the governor feels like that it is not favorable for the welfare or the development of the state, the citizens of that state are not satisfied, in that case the governor has the power to dissolve the legislative assembly. But legislative council is not been dissolved. Legislative council is the permanent house. In case an emergency is declared in the country by the president, then the term can be extended, but not for more than 1 year. Actually, the term is fixed for the 5 years. For the Legislative Assembly, term is fixed for 5 years. But in case of the emergency, if suppose president is declared emergency at the country level, in that case, that circumstances, governor has the power to extend the tenure for the state legislative assembly for a year, but not more than that. Then it comes about that the functions of the legislature. What are the work done by the legislatures? These powers and functions of the law-making function, financial powers, control over the executive, electoral functions, and the constitutional functions. These are the heads where the legislative assembly they work. The state governments have separate departments for smooth functioning of the state, and they have to look after public order. This is the work done by the state governments. Separate departments are there. Already these are the different departments which is shown in the flow chart. They have the different departments. They have the finance department, they have the law making. This is who is the responsible to make the law, to make the policies. The sum of the group of the people who they have the control over the electoral process. With that, the state election commission is there. Then some of the provisions are mentioned in the constitution. Accordingly, this state government they work. So what it says that the state governments have separate departments for smooth functioning of the state, and they have to look after public order, education, agriculture, finance, transport, water supply in their state. In the respective state, this is the work done by all the state governments. Lawmaking is the most important function of the state legislature on subjects that are mentioned in the state list. In our constitution, we have the provisions. When the power is been distributed between the state, central and the state governments, they have made the lists, and in that list subjects are been mentioned. So according to that, the constitutional division of the subjects or preparing of the making of the lists. So a state has got the 66 subjects. 66 subjects are there mentioned in the constitution on which the state has the right to take the decision or to make the laws. The taking financial decision is the another important function of the state legislature. Then the state legislature can make laws on the subject mentioned in the state list. So this way, all these the work are been mentioned in the constitution, and according to the constitutional provisions, the state has the right to take their own decision as per the guidelines of the constitution. Then it comes law making process or legislature. Legislation means or to legislate. This is a law making process. The process of making and the passing laws is called legislature. This is called the legislation. all laws are passed in the legislature. And before a law is passed, a bill or a draft of a proposed law is introduced in the Legislative Assembly. First of all, any of the law, if suppose the citizens they have demanded or any of that, the change in the law, or they wanted to be, process with a new law. So what is the procedure? What is the process for the making of a law? So first of all, what the law is passed. But before that, there is a process how to introduce in the Legislative Assembly. So what is the process? A bill is been drafted. With that, the department, they have to draft a bill where they have to propose about that the law, which is known as the introductory bill. The entire thing has been mentioned in the bill. Then, with the permission of the speaker, it is needed to pass any bill in the house. To introduce that bill in the house, they need the permission from the speaker. With the permission of the speaker, it has been introduced in the house. The minister concerned introduces the bill with the permission of the speaker, and the bill is then discussed in the house, and if there is a need, amendments are made. When the bill is discussed in the house, and if the ministers or the members, they feel like that there is some amendment, amendment means the change. If it is required, then suggest the change. Then the changes are been made. Then it is put to vote. After it has been approved, it is sent to the governor of the state for approval. So this is the entire process, how a bill become a law, or how a new law is been passed from the Legislative Assembly. So when it goes to for the approval to the governor, it is now the governor's approval, the bill becomes a law. If suppose the governor has approved the bill, then that particular bill becomes a law. And if the governor feels some changes need to be made in the bill, then he can send it to the legislature with suggestions. So this way, the law making process is very lengthy. Immediately, no any decision can be taken. Without that, the debate and discussion, without that, the proper reading in the house, it cannot be proposed, it cannot be passed. Then coming to discuss with the judiciary. This is also the one of the most important organ of the government at both the level, the central level as well as in the state level. So this is the pyramidal structure of the judiciary or the judicial system in our country. We have the Supreme Court at the topmost level, apex level. Then we have the high courts. In almost all the states we have the high courts. Many of the states they also share, but most of the states we have the facility of the high courts. Then we have the lower courts. State high courts control the functioning of the judiciary in the state. The Chief Justice heads the judiciary and controls the judicial system of the state. All criminal and civil issues are settled by the state high courts, but the Supreme Court of India has the right to overrule the judgments of the High Court, because as it is the apex court. So the interference from the Supreme Court can be done in the decision taken by the High Courts. So this is the entire judiciary or the judicial system of our country.